that cancer is not one disease. It's many, many different diseases. And there are many efforts to try to detect cancer earlier, to treat it more effectively, and to monitor the treatment after treatment has begun. Is that there are many new techniques for treating cancer based on the kinds of genetic changes I mentioned, for using the immune system to combat cancer, to use some of the new genetic tools to find cancer earlier, to monitor the cancer more effectively. We know from results in a large number of countries that the number of deaths from cancer are decreasing. There are things people can do to reduce their risks of cancer. One important thing that could be done more effectively in India is to make use of the human papillomavirus vaccine, which can prevent cervical cancer and actually some other cancer types. Reduction in smoking, reduction in the use of PON. Those all have important preventive applications that can make cancer a less frequent disease. Well, I just said to you that there are vaccines that prevent certain kinds of cancer, and the two most well-established vaccines are the vaccines against hepatitis B virus, which is widely used in India, and the human papillomavirus vaccine, which has been used here, but it doesn't cover everybody, and it needs to be more widely used because it is very strongly preventive. But there are other ways to try to reduce cancer rates. It's not just vaccines. In fact, there's talk about vaccines against other cancers that are not caused by viruses, but there are cancers that occur at higher frequencies in people who inherit certain genetic abnormalities. In a few cases, a disease called retinoblastoma, for example, virtually everybody who inherits a mutant gene will develop this eye cancer at an early age. And there are a few other genetic diseases, genetic syndromes, quite rare, that cause a high rate of cancers. And then there are some other cancer genes that may be mutated in a small number of people and confer little risk or high risk, and that's a complication. We don't know about all those genes, and some of them increase the risk a little bit, some increase the risk a lot. So again, you have to go back and examine each situation in its context.
They obtain their first grants and be ready for a sabbatical at a time. One of the things that the colleagues and I have been doing recently is trying to understand why these changes in the maturation of scientific careers have occurred. Few jobs, too few opportunities to publish in the most prestigious journals. And this set of what we call systemic and science can become a more enjoyable career. So the second, it's critical in my own experience to choose to work with people who are smarter than you are. So to give you a couple of examples, Paston, who was my mentor when I worked at the NIH as a trainee in the late 1960s, and on the right is David Baltimore, Nobel laureate for his discovery of reverse transcription. They're very impressive people. Seemed daunting to me intellectually, but helped to shape my life in very important ways by Nobel Prize. And the relationship that we had, which is described in a memoir written by Mike many years ago, but I think that part of the basis of our lasted friendship was based on our mutual respect and our feelings that we shared certain principles of how scientific work is done, and how those questions guide the development of our work. And the things that have been, I think, most appropriate and most influential and most rewarding in making choices of what to work on, first of all, an instinct implications, but also can be worked on day one because they're technically feasible. So one of the important things to coordinate in the scientific life is to do so because the technology is required to get answers out of nature about things that we find interesting. is actually feasible. One of choosing the right questions is to see the results of one's scientific inquiry prove to have societal benefit. I'll mention how that's come to be in a moment. And the action of thyroid hormones was found in bacteria as well as in higher animal species, and everybody else you're doing interesting work and you're excited about your work. And the final thing I learned at the end, ready to be applied to human diseases, including diseases as complex as cancer. Remember, I was a physician. I had experience with cancer. My own mother had contracted breast cancer, and to try to learn how to work on cancer with some of these new tools that molecular biology was bringing.